It's the Facebook post that went viral. A 911 dispatcher's controversial reaction to a police-involved shooting. In it, she suggested Omar Johnson's family should repay Norfolk for costs associated with the crime and his death. Last night, Jessica Camarillo apologized for that post.
And we question this lapse of judgment, insensitivity, and lack of compassion for a grieving family. But tonight, in a 10 on Your Side investigation, Andy Fox is equally concerned with the way the city of Norfolk has treated Camarillo. Andy.
Tom and Nicole, this is a story about fundamental fairness. Camarillo is suspended without pay with a recommendation she be fired. She's been suspended one time before, which makes it even more important for her to have proper representation to try and keep her job. We decided to do this story when we were covering her hearing on July 3rd, and the city of Norfolk refused to let Camarillo's only representative in the room. That's when we decided to do this story. She stood before the proverbial firing squad and was forced to stand alone. And the question is that fundamental fairness?
How do I put this in words? I knew I was already screwed.
That's how suspended Norfolk 911 dispatcher Jessica Camarillo sums up her investigative hearing with the city of Norfolk.
I didn't have anybody there with me, so I knew I was done.
Camarillo didn't have anyone because when her union representative, Mike McKenna, showed up to assist her in the hearing, he was kicked out.
This woman met me outside and she said, "You can't come in." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "You have to meet an attorney." I said, "Since when is that?" Because I've sat on multiple panels like this before. And she said, "Oh, we reread the policy and it says you can't come in."
What the city told McKenna is not true. Norfolk City Policy 8.3 that governs the investigative hearing says nothing about that. Camarillo's other union representative, Jane Bethel.
Every investigative hearing I've been a part of, the person has been allowed to have a representative.
The hearing took place July 3rd at the Human Resources Training and Development Office. Norfolk Human Resources Director Caprice Stanley was not in the hearing, but sent her human resources analyst, Carolyn Tanner, who's the one who told McKenna he couldn't come in. Also there, Camarillo's supervisor, 911 Director James Reddick, and his assistant, Tony Castillo. Assistant City Attorney Andrew Fox, yes, that's his name, was the only attorney in the room. Did you feel outnumbered?
Very much so.
She should have asked for a continuance.
Yeah, she could have. It was within her right, but employees don't know this policy inside and out, and that's why they need to have a representative with them.
I'm Andy Fox with Wavy TV 10. I'm looking for Caprice Stanley. When we showed up at Human Resources, city spokesperson Lori Crouch was called. No comment from everyone, but Crouch gave us this statement confirming Policy 8.3 governs the investigative hearing. Crouch writes, "The hearing is not adversarial in nature." But of course it is. And Tanner kept telling Camarillo the hearing is unbiased.
We're not biased. That's what she said. We're unbiased, even though she drilled me.
The process is unbiased, but the first act was to turn away her representative, which to me does not seem very unbiased.
Crouch writes, an employee is not required to have representation. But that's not the point. And Policy 8.3 says nothing about representation, for or against.
There's nothing that requires her to, but there's nothing that prevents her from either. And she really should have had representation at that meeting.
Crouch again, an employee can have a witness only if that person has direct knowledge of the issue discussed at the hearing. That's not in 8.3 either. But McKenna and Bethel have extreme knowledge of everything that happened, and Camarillo wants them there.
Very unfair. Very unfair, because I'm already emotional during all this. I'm going to miss half the things that they're saying because of my emotions.
Camarillo can't afford a lawyer because she's suspended without pay going on a month. No, the only lawyer in the room was the city's Andrew Fox. I'd like to ask you about Jessica Camarillo. Do you think she got a fair hearing?
I don't have any comment about that.
Do you think it was fair that she not have any type of representation in that meeting with you and the other city
I don't have any comment at all about any of that.
Do you think it was unfair? Camarillo says it was unfair when she tried asking her supervisor, James Reddick, a question, and Tanner shut her up.
So when I questioned Mr. Reddick, why don't you stand up and say something about my job, my performance? She told me I couldn't ask him questions.
Camarillo and her representatives argue the city is in violation of its own Policy 8.3 and in turn could be in violation of constitutional due process protections.
It does seem like they are trying to terminate her and doing everything they can to do that.
Does it lack fundamental fairness?
I believe it lacks fundamental fairness when they deny someone representation at an important hearing like that.
Does it deny her due process?
It denies her due process for sure.
Now, I am told this Norfolk City policy 8.3 is currently being reworked. It is flawed because it doesn't tell the thousands of Norfolk City workers what they can and cannot do in an investigative hearing. It fails to outline their basic rights. It is ambiguous and unclear. I am also told the ACLU has been contacted about this case and about our stories. We will keep you updated on Jessica Camarillo's uphill fight to keep her job uphill, but she's fighting. I'm Andy Fox, 10 on your side.